Every club.
Every day.
The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Newcastle Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Grahamson, and today I am joined by Nicola Pringle-Adams. How's it going, Nicola? You doing well?
I'm good. Yep, good. Good for a Monday. How are you?
Yeah, as you say, doing well for a Monday. For some reason, felt really refreshed. I don't know if it was the sunshine and then the mix of heavy downpour we've had in the northeast. I'm not sure if it's the same where you are. No, still beautiful sunshine.
It's still roasting. Yep.
Yeah, we started to have a bit of thunder and lightning up here in the northeast. So I can see the end of this heat wave, and I'll be thankful for it because anyone that watched the episode last night, it's 10 o'clock at night, and I do have lights here that are beaming on me a little bit. But I was about 20 minutes in, and I realised anyone watching this is going to be repulsed by the sheer amount of sweat on my forehead. So I do apologise, and it's not going to happen again today, hopefully. But what is going to happen soon is we are going to see Newcastle in action. We'll play Celtic this weekend, and we might even see Anthony Elanga's first appearance in a Newcastle shirt. Obviously, I think he did play a bit for Sweden, so he might be a bit delayed with the rest of the guys. I know he was in Portugal beforehand. But that's a deal that's been done. Don't need to talk about that anymore. The rumour mill is kind of dried up on new signings. James Trafford I haven't heard his name in weeks, actually, unless it's been out of my mouth. So I don't think that's happening anymore. And then the one that does seem to be happening, or at least in the eyes of everybody, except what seems to be me, is Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt is the only rumoured signing at the moment. I've got my own thoughts on that, obviously, which I've kind of just gave an inkling about. But what do you think about the deal? Is it one you see Newcastle exploring?
We already explored it a couple of years ago, and he completely shut us down.
Yeah.
So would we waste time going back to a player that didn't want to come to us in the first place? Because if I'm being completely honest, I don't want players like that here. You know, we've all seen the video of Anthony Elanga in the car on the way up, which I believe is probably his medical or coming to meet the rest of the team, and saying, you know, he just knew in his gut, he just knows. That's the type of players you want here. You don't want people. I mean, granted, obviously 3 years ago, we're in a complete different position to what we are now, but I don't know. I honestly can't. It's going to go. I don't actually know what we're going to do because we do need a striker.
Were you just about to say it's going to go one of two ways? He signs or he doesn't. It's the most Michael Owen thing I've ever heard in my life.
I had something in my head, but I couldn't think quick enough to get it out. But it doesn't matter. But yeah, not too sure. I'm not too sure which way we'll go with that one. Because like we've discussed last week, we are in need of a second striker. So, but is he going to be the one that we entertain or not? And does he even want to come here, or does he want to go somewhere else? You just don't know where he wants to go, do you?
Yeah, I think I'm a little caught up on the fact he rejected it a few years ago as well. But I think we do kind of have to look at it and go, he is a French player. The chance to play for the French champions, Paris Saint-Germain, it's probably like for an Englishman playing for Fergie's Man United, which, don't be wrong, anyone from the north would say, I'm not doing that. But I think there's a lot of people in the Midlands and the south who would snap up the opportunity. And to be honest, I think if I was a footballer, I would as well. So maybe I can see that for Ekitike as well. But I do have to say there's something that Fabrizio Romano came out with, and this comes after the fact that the price tag is £86 million, apparently the release clause, which breaks our transfer record by 20 million on a player that's a backup to Alexander Isak. That doesn't make sense to me, but what does make quite a lot of sense this morning is Fabrizio Romano coming out on his YouTube channel and saying Hugo Ekitike actually wants to move to England, wants to move to an English club where he's playing in the Champions League. Now, what that says to me is what happened last time. His agent drummed up all this interest from Newcastle. Sure, we probably inquired about him, and then he ended up where he wanted to go, PSG.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling the exact same is happening, but they want to get him at Liverpool instead. And from a Liverpool perspective, he'll cost half the amount of Alexander Isak. And I think that's probably one that works better for them than Isak. It stinks, in my opinion, of that. But what do you think?
I didn't think of it like that until you've just said that. You're probably 100% on the ball, on the mark there.
I'm not just being a negative Nancy, am I not?
Not to be a negative Nancy, no, but you are right, because does he really want to come and play for Newcastle when likelihood is you're going to have to accept the fact that you are going to be second, you are probably going to sit on the bench. Now I know there's obviously we can obviously play with formations and have two of them at the top. Are Newcastle going to do that though?
No, I don't think so.
Probably not. We're probably not going to do that, are we? So yeah, I just can't see him being okay coming, like you say, from PSG to Newcastle to sit on the bench.
No.
I can't see him wanting to do that. Would he walk into Liverpool's starting 11? That's the other question, though. I mean,
I think he's got a better chance of doing so than at Newcastle, definitely.
100%, yeah. But yeah, if that creates the noise that they're wanting for him, then so be it. Like we say, we only want players here that want to be here. We don't want. I almost don't want Newcastle to entertain it if that's the case. I don't want them to create noise around it if it's going to get fans' hopes up, and then because there is fans that want him at the club, which is besides me.
Yeah,
but
100%.
like, fine, he's obviously a great player, but yeah, it's almost as if they're going to create noise around it, and he's linked with Newcastle really heavily. I'd rather them not do that. Just if you're going to go to Liverpool, go to Liverpool. If you're going to go to, I don't know, Arsenal, go to Arsenal, even though you probably won't go there, but you know what I mean.
No, I completely get what you're saying, yeah, and it's one of those where I think the reason there's been so much hype about it is because of the implications that it might have on Alexander Isak. Obviously, you don't sign an £86 million striker to sit him on the bench. And that is very much where he'd be when you've got the caliber of Alexander Isak. We're not going to. We saw what it was like at the end of the season when we didn't have Joe Linton. We were almost abysmal without him. He's one of those, he's one of the clogs that keeps the clock ticking, should we say? So if Ekitike does sign, where does he fit in this Newcastle side? Because either Alexander Isak leaves, which I'll go on the record and say it's not happening this summer, in my opinion. Next year, potentially. But this year, Isak doesn't go anywhere. So do we try and force him out on the wing somewhere? But we've just signed Alanga. We've got Gordon. Or do we try and, change the formation? I don't think Howe even attempts. But what do you think?
I obviously said that in my part a minute ago. I can't see him playing around with the formation too much, knowing fine well that we have, like you said last time we was on together, at least 48 games. At least 48 games this year. Now, obviously, we all love Isak, and we obviously are like really lucky to have him, but we all know how injury prone he can be. That's not me wishing an injury on him, but obviously, if you play with them two on the pitch, and obviously then, say earlier on the season, Alexander Isak goes off with an injury, we're then relying heavily on, just one.
So Gordon and Alanga.
Exactly, yeah. So I absolutely cannot see him doing that. I can't see him changing the formation. But as many times, Eddie Howe has proved me completely wrong and has proved every reason why I just sit here and talk about it and don't actually have a professional job in football. So who knows? Who knows? Fabrizio Romano is probably the only in the know that you'll I say in the know with quotation marks because obviously he's massively in the know, but he's probably the only one that you can probably fully trust, I guess. So if he's coming out saying that he's linked with Newcastle, then there must be some truth to it. There must be some agent talk going on somewhere for that to be linked so heavily.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think it's one of those where I am kind of just praying it's agent talk because I know the 86 million isn't my money. If it was, I'd be making some very, very, much smarter investments, in my opinion. But I think it's one of those where, for me, it's got to be agent talk. I don't want to see Newcastle breaking that transfer record on players like that, who, are virtually unproven. Alexander Isak probably was around the same. He was a little bit unproven, but we all sat there and went, you know what, we think this kid could be unbelievable for Newcastle. Despite only getting 6 in La Liga the year before. Ekitike kind of stinks of a Roberto Soldado for me, where he comes to the Premier League off the back of a 25-goal season or something like that and can't sit behind a player, can't sit behind another striker. He has to play constantly to be getting those kind of numbers. Even 10 goals a season, should we say, because let's be honest, Soldado was nothing like 10 goals a season. But
exactly,
it's it's one of those where I think it's really worrying if we bring in a player like that. But again, if we do sign him, I'll be sitting there saying, you know what, he's probably going to be a great signing. We just need to put the two together, because if Eddie Howe's got a plan, who are we to say you shouldn't be doing that?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, to be honest, I've just got my phone up here next to me, just with some Newcastle pages up. And if we're linked with anyone, it has to be a centre back. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but the boys are heading into training, and guess whose knee's strapped up and he's limping?
Botman
Yeah.
from the game against Kyle on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll see if I can get my thing up. And you can see him. He's limping away with his knee strapped up. There we go.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at a Ring doorbell. I can't lie, but I can briefly get him out there.
Briefly get him
Yeah.
out. So if we're going to be linked with anyone, can we please have a centre back come in? Because here's me eating my words, defending him till I was dying on the hill last week, and yeah.
Yeah, and then even if we do end up bringing someone in, it looks like it'll be Scalvini, who, well, his knees, his hamstrings, his legs, his arms, his head, he's had more injuries than I've had hot meals. So it's going to be a difficult one, but it's going to be a difficult one if we've got those two at centre back. But for now, obviously it's a heightened campaign because of the Champions League, but we'll go more into the Champions League after the advert from Bioniq.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Lovely job.
Fantastic. And it didn't even repeat. So
no.
I'm a happy
man.
Yeah, it did yesterday, and I pooed myself right in the middle of it going, stop. So that's another reason.
Brilliant.
But yeah, so I've sent you a link during this podcast of the projected Champions League pots. If anyone was listening to an episode Ian and I did last week, we did exactly the same, where I took Ian through the projected pots, and got his opinion on where, who he wanted us to play. So in pot one, obviously we're going to start at the top. We bear in mind that Newcastle cannot play English opposition in the group stage, which means the only teams we can face are Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund, and Barcelona. So we have one home game, one away game. Who do you want to bring to St. James's Park, and where do you want the Magpies to travel to?
So I'm going to immediately take out PSG and Dortmund, because I had them last time, and we've already taught PSG a lesson.
That's my thinking as well.
Yep, so they can go. I would love a wee trip to Real Madrid.
Yeah, the Bernabeu. Beautiful stadium.
Can't knock that, can you? And do you know the other one? Because if you're going to do it, you've got to do it right. Bring Barcelona.
Oh, Barcelona at St. James's. Espria vibes all over again.
Absolutely.
That would be absolutely fantastic. It's one of those where I think you look at both clubs, and just to bear in mind, everyone as well, we're not saying we're going to beat Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. Barcelona, I do agree, you'd probably rather play them at St. James's than at the new camp, because the new camp's being renovated, so it wouldn't be the same experience for the fans that go over. But could you just imagine that Spanish doubleheader against Newcastle in the Champions League? And to be honest, I think I might have said the same two teams. I think I said travel to the Bernabeu and bring Inter Milan to St. James's Park, but Barcelona definitely up there.
In there between PSG and Chelsea. Yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah, last year's finalists. You don't want to go to the San Siro. We did it with AC Milan already, but no. Inter, I've got a big soft spot for Inter Milan. Was gutted when PSG destroyed them in the final.
Oh, I know, me too. Inter Milan didn't even turn up.
No, it's a shame. But with that, so we've got Real Madrid as the away game, Barcelona as the home game.
Yep.
In pot two, so we have Leverkusen, Atletico Madrid, Atalanta, Villarreal, Juventus, Eintracht Frankfurt, and two teams that haven't qualified yet, but it does look very likely that they will, in Benfica and Club Brugge. Obviously, that's subject to change, but out of those teams, who would you like to face away, and who would you like to bring to St. James's?
I'm going bold,
Oh,
I'm because I think if you're going to be messing with the big boys, you've just got to bring it, ain't you?
you've got to go all for it.
You've got to go for it. I would quite like to Atletico Madrid bring to St. James. Yeah,
a Madrid double header.
A Madrid double header.
That would be unreal.
Yeah, I would love it. And Juventus.
Yeah.
Juventus. I would quite like maybe to go. Well, not me personally, but Newcastle to travel there.
Yeah, I completely agree. The old lady in Juventus, not a literal old lady, obviously, but Lloyd Kelly at centre back. They're not the team they once were, but those Andy Griffin vibes from back in the day, back in the 2000s. I'd love to see us play Juventus again, and I've got a strong thought that we'll beat them. So I completely agree. I'm terrified of playing Atletico Madrid, just a Diego Simeone team, but
we've got them
I can definitely
before the season, right? We're playing. Is it Atletico Madrid? We're playing just before the season starts. Yeah. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, but I can't imagine we'll see the Simeone hit housery, should we say, in a preseason game. And if we do, then that just sums up Atletico Madrid. That'd be beautiful. But the team I chose, I said Benfica, because could you imagine going to the Estadio de Luís, the real Stadium of Light, on the Tuesday or the Wednesday before we play Sunderland at the Stadium of Light and winning at the Stadium of Light twice in a week?
Beautiful.
That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. Exactly. So to be fair, we've agreed on two excellent answers there as well. A large Spain contingent in yours. I'm not sure if you're not just planning for your holidays. Actually, you said Barcelona and Atletico at home, so it doesn't really work. But
it doesn't really work like that. Yeah,
I like the joke. It's fine.
I'm going to struggle with these next ones, I think.
Yeah, the next ones, the pot 3 and pot 4 are where you realistically want to be getting your points. I think pot 1, let's be honest, I'm not expecting anything from any of those teams. Maybe get a draw against someone at St. James's Park. We weren't expecting to beat Paris Saint-Germain 4-1, but there we are.
But we did.
And then, yeah, you could get points quite easily against Juventus, Frankfurt, Club Brugge, etc. in pot 2, but Atletico Madrid are probably the ones to avoid, in my opinion. But it would be a great matchup.
That into existence. I would love to go to the Real Madrid, just back to pot 1, Real Madrid ground. I would love to see them at St. James's as well. I just want to play everyone at St. James's Park.
Yeah. They've pretty much got the Galacticos together these days as well, with Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., and Mbappe. I'd love to just see like Sean Longstaff, Dan Burn just doing a number on them again. I see again in Mbappe's case, but yeah, exactly. So that'd be brilliant. Pot 3. So just to note, Tottenham are the only English team in there, so the opposition
Still can't believe they're in there.
Yeah, they really shouldn't be. But Big Ange, what a man!
What a man! Yeah, always wins in his second season, and he did.
Yeah, and then gets sacked.
So we have
So we have PSV, Ajax, Napoli, Sporting Lisbon, Olympiacos, Slavia Prague, and Marseille, with Europa League semi-finalists Bodo Glimt not confirmed just yet.
Oh, God, I'm struggling with these ones. Maybe Ajax?
Yeah, a trip to Amsterdam would be...
be pretty cool.
Yeah, a trip to the Amsterdam Arena would be fantastic. I said that the team I didn't want to play was Napoli. Getting the Italian champions in pot 3 is quite scary in my opinion.
Definitely Ajax then, a trip there. And then... PSV?
Yeah, it's a great shout. I mean, they're losing. It looks like they're going to lose star player Bakayoko. Obviously, he has fell out a little bit out of favour, but he's the most exciting player there. So, depending on who they replace him with, PSV would still be a great fixture. I agreed. I think I said Ajax I'm pretty certain I said Ajax away. But for at home, I said I wanted us to play Marseille because
Yeah,
I
good
would
one.
love to see. I don't know if you've noticed the roster of players that Marseille have been compiling, but they've basically tried to get every person who's hated at the moment under one roof. There's a lot of legal issues in that team, and I would just love to
Oh,
see Bruno Mares and Joe Linton going up to the likes
at
of
it.
Mick Greenwood and just clotheslining the.
Oh, yeah. How would I forget he plays for them?
Yeah, he's not the only one that's got a bit of history there as well. So yeah, I'd love to see Joe Linton get his hands on a few of them, but that's more of a personal vendetta on my side than anything else. And they are unfortunately a good team.
They are.
But pot four,
Here
obviously
we
the pot
go.
that Newcastle United are in. If anyone's unaware, out of everyone that's qualified, we do have the lowest coefficient. So we're officially the worst team in the tournament at the moment in UEFA's eyes,
I
which is going
can't.
to make it all the more sweeter when we win it.
Have they watched Tottenham play?
Yes, but unfortunately, Tottenham did win a European trophy last season.
I know, but have they watched them play? Because, yeah, okay. Right then.
They're going to spend more time in court this season than they are on the pitch, to be fair,
I
with
know,
that
yeah.
Morgan Gibbs White deal.
Yeah,
It's going to
about
be
that.
very interesting to see how that
Interesting.
plays out.
Yeah.
But on
Anyway,
to pot four. Yep, so the teams that have officially qualified already in pot four are AS Monaco, Galatasaray, Union Saint-Gilloise, Athletic Bilbao, and then the teams who haven't officially qualified but look likely to do so are FC Copenhagen, Red Star Belgrade, Ferencváros, and Celtic. So who are the two there that you'd want to play? One away, one home.
is it bad that I only really recognise like 3 of these teams?
Maybe a little bit.
Probably a bit bad, isn't it? Right, one away. Oh God, where would you want to go out of this?
Well, I can tell you where I don't want to go, and that
Go
would be
on then.
Galatasaray.
Oh yeah, I'm not going there. They're not even coming here.
Yeah, their fan base, I mean, very passionate. Yeah, I love watching it on the telly, but going through the centre of Newcastle or us in Turkey, yeah, that'd be quite scary.
I also don't want to play Celtic either.
Really? Why is
Well,
that?
no, maybe I do want to play Celtic in the Champions League, more so because as my dad's a massive Rangers fan, so I just hate them.
Exactly.
I just
But
hate them.
that's all the better.
Right, let's go
You'd
there
want
then.
to
So
beat the
Celtic
teams
can
you
come
hate.
to us. Celtic can come to us.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll
take
batter
it.
them at St James's.
We'll batter them at St James's, right? Please play Celtic, and then, mate, I don't actually know the other one where I want to go. Maybe Copenhagen.
Copenhagen would be nice,
FC
yeah.
Copenhagen. That'd be quite a nice trip away.
Yeah, lovely stuff. I think I said, I did say Celtic myself, which is why I was a big advocate for. And then I can't remember who I said for the last one. I think I said I wanted to go to Hungary against Ferencváros, just simply because we've played them in European competitions before.
Yeah.
Obviously, had a bit of success. And then, I'd like to do it again, and it's probably it's the most likely 3 points we're going to get out of those 4. So I'm not going to go through it yet, but basically what the aim of this is that sort of when we get to the draw, see if anyone's changed their mind, and then I'm going to get you to predict how many points you are going to get from those games. So look forward to that.
Can't wait.
But for now, you know what? For now, we're just going to go straight into the next part. We're not going to bother with another advert. But I'm going to go through some changes that have happened in regards to backroom staff. So Newcastle United finally have a set-piece coach now.
Come on.
We're catching up with the rest of the Premier League. For anyone that thinks I'm being serious, we've had Jason Tindall and other coaches doing it for the last few years, and it's worked quite nicely. We've had one of the best defenses and the 7th best attack in the league from those positions, but we've brought in, I believe it's Martin Mark. He replaced Arsenal's current set-piece coach at Midtjylland in Denmark. Yes, Michael, in Denmark. They dropped off a little bit, but they still had very strong numbers and some of the best in the league. So, yeah, if Newcastle are 7th best in the Premier League with Jason Tindall and a couple of others looking over it, it's very exciting to see what we can do with someone actually dedicated to it. But you mentioned centre-backs just a bit there. If we do bring in someone new, does that mean the tactics got to officially change from lump it to Dan Burn and hope for the best? What do you think?
Got to, surely. We can't rely on that all season. It sounded quite well this season, but yeah.
Imagine getting paid the amount you get paid for a set-piece coach, and all he's got written down on the notepad is lump to Dan Burn.
No. It's surely it would change.
Stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Surely it would change. It's nice to actually see that Newcastle are investing money in the right areas that's needed as well. I know it goes without saying, obviously we don't really hear a lot about the backroom staff, but it's nice that we're like in this new sort of era that we're kept up to date with, a set piece coach and things like that. So it's nice to actually see the club are aware of it and have made progress on it. So it would be nice, and I'm sure we'll obviously see progress on that throughout the season. Hopefully, instead of lumping it to Dan Burn and hoping for the best.
It worked in the cup final, didn't it?
Exactly.
There's been plenty of times it hasn't worked, but hopefully we'll start to see Newcastle United up near the top of that table for attacking set pieces, and hopefully that'll be the difference between us getting Champions League and Europa League next season. The other, I'll move on from my man Mark on set pieces, but go for Jack Ross, the ex-Sunderland manager, has also gotten a promotion to head of football strategy, which I can't lie, if that was a kind of title I'd heard when I was working somewhere, I'd probably reckon it was made up. What do you think?
Yeah, what's that job entailing then?
Yeah, literally, it's is he going to replace the sporting director? I personally don't know. I imagine he's going to be working a bit closer with like Shola Amiobi on outgoings, which means we might actually see some of the youngsters go out on loan this season.
Yep.
Actually, that's common sense. We're not going to do that.
We don't do things simple, Michael.
No, head of football strategy. It's a very, very weird title. But congratulations to ex-Sunderland manager Jack Ross for finally getting a title that means something, because manager at Sunderland certainly didn't.
Means nothing.
Yes. But to end, Nicola, I want to play a little game and I'll explain the concept here. So I'm going to give you two players. And I will ask you to guess the player that connects them. So let's say, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head that isn't the question. So a player has to have played with both players. If I was to say Edgar Davids and Stephen Taylor, it's quite a good one actually. The connection would be Patrick Kluivert, because he played for Ajax in '94 with Davids and played with Stephen Taylor at Newcastle. Now, don't be wrong. This question isn't that hard. I've came up with a better question off the top of my head, which is annoying. But does that sound good?
Let's go. I'm not going to be very good at this.
It's okay. You ready to go, though?
Ready to go.
Okay. Football connections. I'm going to give you two players, and what I need you to do is find me the connection. The player who played with both. After about 15, 20 seconds, I'll give you three players to choose between if you're struggling. So the first player is Sergio Ramos, obviously Real Madrid legend. And the second player is Alan Shearer. So have a think. Don't give me an answer right away. But if you got an idea of who you might say?
No.
No? Okay. Well, that's fine. If everyone is playing along at home, I do recommend that you pause the podcast episode or the video if you're watching on social media to avoid having the answers spoiled for you. But okay, Nicola, Big Al is in there, Newcastle United legend. Do you think you know who the link is, or do you want our multiple choice answers?
Can I have some multiple choice, please? I feel like I'm panicking.
Okay, so I'm going to give you three options here. So the first option is Michael Owen. The second option is Jeremy. And the third option is Jonathan Woodgate.
It can't be Michael Owen,
Who are you
surely.
thinking? I say nothing until you give me an answer.
I'll just go with that one. You're
going to go for Michael Owen. Okay.
I don't think it is that one, though.
It is not Michael Owen. The correct answer was, in fact, Jonathan Woodgate.
Really?
So Owen, and a fun fact about Michael Owen, he actually left Real Madrid the same day that Sergio Ramos joined. So I don't know if they were directly linked cash-wise, but Ramos might not have even signed for Real Madrid if it wasn't for the departure of Michael Owen. Who knew? And then obviously Jeremy. Yeah. And obviously Jeremy, Newcastle United legend, Jeremy. Yeah, everyone knows that.
Everyone knows him.
The new breed of fans will definitely know about Jeremy. He was nominated for the Ballon d'Or in 2000, so he was all right.
We were 5.
Until he... roughly. He was all right until he joined Newcastle in 2007. He was very poor for us. But that's that. I just want to end the pod on a little bit of a fun note. Hope everyone who played along at home enjoyed. That's been us from the Daily Newcastle podcast. Nicola is back tomorrow with Kev and Joanne. And then I'm not back till Thursday, where I'll be with Nicola and Ian to discuss the friendly against Celtic at the weekend. So you've got all that to look forward to this weekend. But for now,
lovely job.
It's goodbye.
Bye.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.